This is Algebra 2, Lesson 81, and this lesson covers complex numbers and real numbers, products of complex conjunctions, and division of complex numbers. Alright, standard form. So when we talk about a complex number, we're talking about a number that has a real part and an imaginary part. When we write in standard form, we always write the real part first. So like 2 plus 3i. Okay? We wouldn't write 3i plus 2. We always want to write the real number first, then the complex number. And that's just a review. You guys have already learned that. Conjugates of complex numbers. So we remember that a conjugate is when you have two terms and there's a plus or a minus sign in the middle. But the conjugate of that, like say 2 plus 3x, the conjugate of that would be 2 minus 3x. We're just changing that sign in the middle right there. Okay, the conjugate of a complex number would be like if you had 3 plus 2i, its conjugate would be 3 minus 2i. Okay, and we've already learned that as well. Now, if we multiply conjugates of complex numbers, let's say that we had our 2 plus 3i. If we multiply it times its conjugate, it's going to get rid of that imaginary part. Remember, the middle terms are going to cancel. So if we said 2 times 2, we would get 4. 2 times 3 would be negative 6i. Then here we would have positive 6i. And then here we would have 3 times 3 is 9. And then I times I would be I squared, which is negative 1. So then if we did negative 1 times 9, we would have negative 9. Just move that over here, and those cancel. So we would have 4 minus 9, which equals negative 5. Okay? Alright, and we've done that already as well. So if we wanted to simplify a division problem like this, we're going to multiply the bottom and the top by the same thing, and that's going to be the conjugate of your bottom, because you're trying to get rid of that denominator. So we're going to do 4 plus 2i on the bottom, and then we have to multiply the top times the same thing. Okay. Alright, so for our bottom, we're going to say 4 minus 2i times 4 plus 2i. And now remember, these middle terms are going to cancel each other. 4 times 4 will be 16. 4 times 2 would be 8, so positive 8i. That would be negative 8i. And then 2 times 2 is 4. That would be negative 4 times I squared, which would be times negative 1. Okay, if we put those cancel each other, and we're going to have 16. Negative times negative is a positive, so plus 4. So that would equal 20. So the bottom of our fraction is now 20. Okay, and now we're going to do our top. That would be 2 plus 3i times 4 plus 2i. Okay, 2 times 4 would be 8. 2 times 2i would be 4i. 3 times 4 would be 12i. And then 3 times 2 is 6. And that would be I squared. So that would be negative 1. Alright, so we're going to have 8. And then 6 times negative 1 would be negative 6. So 8 minus 6. Plus 4 and 12 will be 16i. And if we put these together, we would have 2 plus 16i. That's our new top. Okay, now to cancel these, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could go ahead and break it down and put 2 over 20 plus 16 over 20i. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Then you just reduce these fractions. A 1 there and a 10 there. So you'd have 1 over 10 plus, that would be a 10, that would be an 8. 8 over 10i. And you can reduce that even further. Actually, we could do 5 and a 4. So 4 over 5 I. And that's your answer. Okay, let's try another one. So this one is not written in standard form, so what we have to do is swap that around and write it in standard form. Our top's fine, but our bottom needs to be swapped around. So this will be 4 minus 2i over, our negative 3 has to come first, plus 2i. Now we're going to multiply above and below by the conjugate of that, so negative 3 minus 2i. Okay, so our bottom first, we're going to do negative 3 plus 2i times negative 3 minus 2i. 3 times 3 would be positive 9. 3 times 2, that would be positive 6i. That would be negative 6i. And then 2 times 2, that would be negative 4. And then I squared would be times negative 1. So all that would turn into positive 4. I'm going to just go ahead and put it over here. 9 plus 4 would be 13. And those cancel each other. So our new bottom is 13. Now we'll do the top. 4 minus 2i times negative 3 minus 2i. 3 times 4 is that would be negative 12. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to have 4 times 2 would be negative 8i. 2 times 3 would be 6. That would be positive 6i. And then 2 times 2 is 4. That would be positive 4 times I, which is negative 1. Alright, so that would be negative 4. We'll just put that over here. That would be negative 16 plus, oh, no, this is going to be a minus 2i. Okay, so that would be negative 16 minus 2i. We can't reduce any of that, so we're just going to break it down and do negative 16 over 13 minus 2i over 13. And that's how you'd write that answer. Go ahead and pause the video and work the practice problems, and then I'll work them for you. Alright, practice A. We are going to multiply above and below by the conjugate of the bottom of the denominator. So that would be 3 plus 3i. And the same thing on top. Alright, so we'll do the bottom first. 3 minus 3i times 3 plus 3i. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9i. This would be negative 9i. And that would be negative 3 times negative 1. So all that would cancel at 2. Nope, that would be negative 9 times negative 1. 3 times 3 makes 9. Positive 9. Alright, those cancel each other out, and 9 and 9 is 18. So our new bottom is 18. And then we've got to do 2 plus 3i times 3 plus 3i. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6i. 3 times 3 is 9i. And then 3 times 3 over here would be 9, times negative 1. 9 times negative 1 would be actually negative 9. 6 and minus 9 would be negative 3 plus 15i. We got negative 3 plus 15i. And we're just going to break that down. Negative 3 over 18 plus 15i over 18. Now we're going to reduce those. 3 times 6 is 18, so that would be negative 1/6 plus 3 times 5, 3 times 6, 5 over 6i. Here is the answer to A. Okay, let's work B. This one you have to swap it around because it's not in standard form. So that's going to be 2 minus 2i. That part's fine. The bottom is not fine. So that'll be negative 2 plus 2i. Now we're going to multiply both sides, above and below, by the conjugate. So that'll be negative 2 minus 2i. And negative 2 minus 2i right there. Right, so for the bottom, we have negative 2 plus 2i times negative 2 minus 2i. That would be a positive 4. That would be a positive 4i. That would be a negative 4i. And that would be a negative 2 times negative 1, which would make positive 2. Those cancel. We get 6. Okay, now we got to do the top. Two times 2 is 4. That would be negative 4. 2 times 2 is 4. That will be negative 4i. That will be our positive 4i. That will be positive 4 times negative 1. I times I is I squared, which is negative 1, which would be negative 4. Those cancel. We're going to get, that should be a 4 right there. That's where I messed up. Let's see. That would be 8. Okay, and then that would be negative 8. So this whole thing should equal negative 1. That's the answer to B. Alright, that is it for lesson 81. Thanks for watching.